Argentina head into this year's FIFA World Cup in Qatar as one of the favourites to lift the Jules Rimet Trophy. The Argentines have not won football's showpiece event since 1986, falling in the finals of the 1990 and 2014 tournaments. Their fans are hoping it will be fifth time lucky for the man many rate as the greatest player of all time, Lionel Messi. Here to help us assess the capabilities of the Albiceleste is our South American football correspondent, Juan G. Arango. Juan, welcome to the program.
Hey, how are you, George? How's everything? And looking forward to the next couple of days as far as World Cup coverage is concerned.
When do you fly off to Qatar?
I'm actually flying out on Thursday, and I'll be there on Friday morning, so and ready to hit the ground.
Excellent. All right, let's look at the Argentina squad before we get into the discussion. The squad, they picked by Lionel Scaloni, who has stabilized the performances of the team. He has picked the usual suspects, led by Lionel Messi, Emi Martinez, Rui, the Villarreal goalkeeper, Franco Armani, Molina, Montiel, Romero, Petzela, Otamendi, Martinez, Acuna, Tagliafico, and Foyt, the defenders. De Paul, Paredes, McAllister, Alexis McAllister. It'd be strange to find a man with an Anglophone name in the Argentina squad, but there was an Anglophone player for Argentina in the 1986 World Cup when they beat West Germany in that final. Maybe that's a sign of great things to come. Rodriguez, Gomez, Fernandez, and Palacios complete the midfield list. Up front, Di Maria, stitched together, sewn together after his battles with injury this season. Lautaro Martinez, Julian Alvarez, Gonzalez, Correa, Dybala. Another one whose fitness is in doubt heading into the tournament. And of course, the man we call Ball Jesus here at SportsMax, Lionel Messi. So, Juan, let's get right to it. The Argentines have a long unbeaten record coming into this tournament. They have the measure of South American opposition, we can say, excepting Brazil, because one game was postponed because of the COVID issues and one game was drawn. And how do you expect them to fare, though, against the big boys from Western Europe, who, like Brazil, have always been Argentina's bogeys at a FIFA World Cup?
Well, you know what? You make some good points as far as Argentina is concerned. They come in 34 matches unbeaten. They haven't lost in 3.5 years. It's a team that not only finds itself cohesive, but also galvanized from a collective standpoint. So the strengths are there. The overall strength of Argentina is there. Now, what can happen in the World Cup? Well, that's pretty much a coin toss. The group stage, you know what you're going to get. When you get to quarterfinals going forward, it's a toss-up. You don't know exactly. And people in Argentina are very well aware of that. Although there is a bit of euphoria in terms of what this team is capable of doing and what they have done in order to be able to foment that argument. When you start looking at this team, there is this why, there is this purpose, and a lot of it does have to do with Messi, but all of it has to do with the individual commitment that these players are putting in. Case in point, Messi alongside many of the other Paredes, Di Maria, someone played this past weekend, someone played yesterday in Europe. They flew last night into Abu Dhabi and they practiced today. Now, is it something that's amazing that that's the only team that's doing it? No, but it shows the commitment that they're looking to have in terms of this national team. Not only for the present, mind you, because they're also looking at the future. They saw Alejandro Garnacho play last night or this past weekend for Manchester United, and they're demanding that from Alejandro Garnacho come January when he starts getting called up for the national team, getting ready for World Cup qualifiers. So it's part of this plan. It's part of the culture that's being established within Argentina that makes this team strong. Now, is it a candidate to win the World Cup? Absolutely. Are they going to win it? I don't know.
Juan, let's deal with this one head on. Logical reasoning, which doesn't work all the time. Yeah, people always talk about logics, but logics doesn't work all the time. Logical reasoning will serve up this question. If when Messi was at the peak of his powers as an individual, Argentina couldn't win the World Cup, when he had the ability to dribble from one end through the entire opposition and score, when he had that ability, they couldn't win, he couldn't inspire them, he couldn't lift them. How is it that when he has lost that ability, Argentina is poised to win a World Cup? And I put that to you as the expert.
You have a better collective now. You have a better collective. Maybe you had bigger names and better players in those teams that ended up going to 3 consecutive, or even 4 if you go back to that Copa America in 2007. Maybe you had bigger names, maybe you had better players, but now you have a better collective, a more galvanized side, a more unified side, a team that not only finds themselves inside very strong, but from the outside they find themselves very well supported. Now, you don't see the media in Argentina going after the national team anymore. No longer do you see speculations about, a certain player consuming illegal drugs. You don't have people talking about the inner workings of players' in personal lives. You don't have those types of opposing media views and a lot of resistance towards the national team. It's a more inclusive, it's a more welcoming environment. Yes, winning does help a lot. So that there is one of the things that ends up working out. But when you start looking at the overall workings and the overall surroundings of this national team, there's a lot less drama. There's a lot less stress. There's a lot less pressure for Coach X or Coach Y to be able to perform, or if not, they're going to get sacked. Look at the amount of coaches that Lionel Messi has had since he's been part of the national team, excluding Jose Pekerman, on forward. You can look at all the coaches they had and look at what he's been able to have with a stable program the past 3 years with Lionel Scaloni.
Yeah, and speaking about Lionel Scaloni, he said he hopes that, this will not be the last World Cup for Lionel Messi. Of course, he's 35 years of age. It's the last one for him, right?
I wish I could be absolute. It does sound like it because a lot of times he's said in interviews, yeah, this is probably the last go around. This is the last time around. But he's a competitive beast. He's one of these players that wants to continue going. Is it as ferocious and as intense? It's different. But he wants to win. He wants to continue winning trophies. I mean, he could have gone to any team when Barcelona let him go. He ends up going to PSG. And he went to PSG for a reason. Because of the project, because of everything else. Now, has he been able to succeed in that aspect? No, he hasn't. But he knows that he can do it there. As far as seeing him at 39, there's been a couple of hints that he might continue or want to continue going until he's 39 years of age. He's changed as a player. He's no longer that attacking forward. Maybe now you see him as a player that drops back in the middle, ends up kind of spraying passes around and being the distributor more than being a goal scorer, who happens to also be a goal scorer as well as a distributor. But if you look at it from that entire perspective, he can play maybe 2 or 3 more years. At what level? Well, we'll have to see how healthy he is or he continues being.
Juan, you said that the collective for Argentina on the roster obviously is representative, by your estimation, of being a squad that is more likely to do better than the ones in the past. Can you expand on that? Because I know they were undefeated in the World Cup qualifiers in CONMEBOL, but they were behind Brazil in the league standings, and Brazil were comfortably on top of them.
Yes.
What would it take for them to beat a Brazil then, if it is that Brazil are considered favorites, because they are?
Well, they beat them before. They beat them at Maracanã in the Copa America final last year. So do they have it? Yeah, they do. And Brazil knows that very well. I mean, I would, for some reason, I would like to see one of the two teams end up in second place for an eventual final to be able to be played in what would be a titanic final of epic proportions. It would be great to see that. If they end up crossing paths and they end up winning both their respective groups, they might end up crossing in semis. But if you look at it from this perspective, it's a team that has found a way through the unification of personalities, through finding a common goal, through finding a common purpose, through a leader that no longer has to be the all-encompassing, whenever a teammate has the ball, okay, what do I do? Oh, let me give him the ball, see what he can do with it. Now other players saying, no, don't worry, you're not having a good match, I'll take over, I'll do my thing, I'll be able to come through and help you out. And he never had that. If you look at the 2010, 2014, 2018 World Cup, every time Messi would have the ball, what happened? Even the Copa Americas, too, I may even add. What was Messi, or what were the teammates doing when Messi had the ball? Here, take the ball. Okay, go do something. Now it's more like, okay, we can do something more. He's more the cherry on top. He's part of a system. No longer is the system him. I think that's where the differences start to come through. And also from an outside the pitch type of situation. There was a great documentary that came out a couple of weeks ago talking about what Argentina as a team needed to do in order to have team building exercises, grow as a team. They started playing cards, and all of a sudden they started guessing which card was next. And whatever card was next, each player started tattooing it. And it was an inside joke at times, because all of a sudden players started coming out with tattoos of Spanish poker cards, if you want to call them that. And he started tattooing them, saying, oh, this is what I guessed. This is the reason why I put this card. So everything had to do with the team building and the growth as a group over the past 3.5 years that this squad has had, with Messi as the head and Messi as the elder statesman, and he being the symbol of this squad now.
Hear you on that. Thank you very much for your time, my friend, and your contribution. All the best to you, and good luck in Qatar.
Thank you very much. You guys, best of luck as well.
All right, Juan Girango, our Qatar-bound analyst there. You know, he's right about so many things. The thing is this, though. I've never in my lifetime seen a World Cup that is not won on the exploits of a star player. And what is true, giving it to Messi to beat Peru and Bolivia and Venezuela and Paraguay is not the same as beating Spain and I almost said Italy, Germany, and England and Belgium and the other fierce teams that are going, and France and all those teams. And the other players who stepped in to pick up the slack, they aren't world-class players. They're world-class players up front, the Di Marias and the Dybalas, world-class on reputation and what they can potentially do. But Di Maria has been outstanding at a World Cup. Yeah. But he's injured and he's athletic. He depends on being fit to do his things. Dybala has never captivated at a major tournament. Yeah? So the fact of the matter is, I'm just saying to the Argentina fans, hope for the best, but prepare to be underwhelmed.
The fact is that even listening to Juan and the confidence he has that Argentina could go a long way in the championship, no South American team has won the World Cup in 20 years, since Brazil in 2002. And with Brazil being so heavily favored to win this World Cup based on the analysis of many of the experts, and Argentina being so highly thought of, you know, you're led to think that this might be a narrow World Cup here. But as you've said, and I think I agree with you, that this is a very, very wide open World Cup. Yeah. And we may very well see a team winning the World Cup that had never won it before. So that's how open it is.
Which means Argentina has a chance, because...
Yes, they do. It's open. It's
all
open.
Right. Yeah. Well, only time will tell. Just a couple days left. Still to come on today's show, West Indies players released from Indian Premier League franchises. Is this a result of the team's horrendous performances at the last 2 T20 World Cups? That's coming up later. But next, Reggae Girls captain Khadija Shaw criticizes the lack of fanfare around the team's historic qualification for the FIFA Women's World Cup. We'll be discussing that issue in the next segment. Stay with us.